Hi everyone, my name is Aaron Omawan and I'm a Stormwater Infrastructure Engineer with the Saskatoon Water Department of the City of Saskatoon. Today, I'm going to present to you an overview of the flood control strategy and the dry storm pond project planned for Cahill Park beginning next year. The Saskatoon Water Department of the City of Saskatoon is responsible for the execution of the flood control strategy, which began in 2019 and will be completed before 2028. Over the next few minutes, I'll explain the flood control strategy as well as historical flooding near Cahill Park. I'll introduce the dry storm pond project, identify the work areas, and let you know what to expect while work is happening. At the end, I will leave you with options to contact us with further questions or concerns. We will also be holding a public engagement event later this fall. Area residents will receive a flyer once a date has been determined. First, I'll provide a bit of information about the flood control strategy and the background behind the upcoming Cahill Park Dry Pond project. The preliminary work leading to the creation of the project occurred after a large rain event in 2014, with this early work including several modeling studies of the most at-risk flood locations within Saskatoon. Then, in July and August 2017, many of the most at-risk flood locations experienced significant rainstorms, which caused flooding and property damage. At that point, City Council then asked City Administration to identify a flood mitigation strategy and funding options to address flooding in various parts of the city. This strategy, known as the Flood Control Strategy, was approved by City Council in 2018. In 2019, the federal government approved the funding application submitted by the city through the Disaster Mitigation and Adaptation Fund, with the Government of Canada funding 40% of the estimated construction costs to execute 9 projects to address flooding in at least 10 of the most at-risk flood locations within Saskatoon. The total Government of Canada contribution is approximately $21.6 million, with the remaining being contributed by the City of Saskatoon and its stormwater utility. The stormwater utility will also cover any excess costs from the initial estimated costs in the agreement through utility reserves. The locations to be addressed in the flood control strategy are shown in the map on this slide. The Cahill Park Dry Storm Pond project is the 7th project as part of the strategy. Our first 3 projects, which included construction of dry storm ponds at W. Ashley Park, Churchill Park, and Weaver Park, were completed in 2022, 2023, and 2024 respectively. Our 4th project, which includes the installation of underground stormwater storage in Brevard Park South, is in service to mitigate flooding in the area while the landscaping remains under construction. The park is expected to reopen to the public in fall 2026. Our 5th and 6th projects, which includes installation of new dry storm ponds in Cumberland Park and on University of Saskatchewan land north of 14th Street East, are currently under construction. Cumberland Park is currently planned to reopen to the public in fall 2026, while the opening date for the USAS project is still to be determined based on future discussions with university staff. And as I mentioned, this presentation will focus on our 7th project to construct a dry storm pond in Cahill Park. Now I will touch on a bit of our past successes of our flood control strategy projects, which we hope to replicate as part of all our projects in this strategy, including for this project in Cahill Park. Our first project of the flood control strategy, a dry storm pond in W. Ashley Park, was first tested in 2022 when Saskatoon experienced a storm event that ranged between a 1 in 5 year to 1 in 25 year storm. During this storm, the W. Ashley Park dry pond temporarily took in water and successfully mitigated flooding in the neighborhood, with the ponding on the roadway and into nearby properties being drastically reduced from a similar storm that occurred 5 years prior, as shown in the images on the right. The W. Ashley Dry Pond project was ultimately a success, proving that the solutions constructed in the flood control strategy can have a large impact in mitigating flooding during storm events. Now moving into present day, as more flood control strategy projects are being constructed, they have continued to show their effectiveness in mitigating flooding. Just recently, in August 2025, the first 4 projects of the flood control strategy all helped mitigate flooding during a storm event, which also approached up to being a 1 in 25 year storm, taking in water that otherwise would have ponded on the street and potentially have caused property damage. The city aims to continue to build on these past successes as we continue to work on new projects, including the dry storm pond in Cahill Park. Next, Moving on to some more background about historical flooding near this project location. The 21st Street West and Avenue W South intersection has a history of flooding during storm events, with the intersection having a history of experienced flooding as a low spot in the area even before the storm sewers were first installed in the area in the 1960s, as shown in the image on this slide. The main reason for the historical flooding in the area is due to a lack of a major stormwater storage system in the neighborhood and the design standards that were in place at the time that the neighborhood was constructed, which causes capacity issues of the storm sewer. This results in water ponding in low areas of the neighborhood during storm events, including the 21st Street West and Avenue W South intersection. Design standards were changed in 1989 to incorporate major system drainage, accounting for increased levels of runoff to be drained through the storm sewer infrastructure. Neighborhoods are now developed with major system stormwater storage through wet and dry ponds, roadway stormwater storage, and linear parks, which were not used for stormwater management when this neighborhood was developed. Near the 21st Street West and Avenue W South intersection, as many as 42 buildings experienced flooding during large storms, with 10 buildings experiencing flooding during a 1 in 10-year storm event. For this project, administration presented the feasibility study and concept plan of the upgraded storm sewer infrastructure and dry pond project to City Council in June 2025. The project was approved by Council and will help mitigate flooding for this high-risk flood location. The image on the left shows the anticipated water ponding near the 21st Street West and Avenue W South intersection during a 1 in 2 year rainstorm with only the existing stormwater infrastructure in place. As you can see, there is a significant flood risk in the area, with water ponding at a depth equal or greater than 0.4 meters in the street and spilling into neighboring properties even during a storm that is expected to occur 1 in every 2 years. The image on the right shows the anticipated water ponding during a 1 in 2 year rainstorm with a proposed new dry storm pond to be installed in Cahill Park. With the new storm pond, the water ponding in the streets is significantly reduced as water is instead temporarily stored in the storm pond during rain events. Next, I will share how the storm pond will also provide flood mitigation to the area during larger storms. The image on the left shows existing conditions during a 1 in 10 year rainstorm, while the image on the right shows the proposed conditions with the dry storm pond installed during the same simulated 1 in 10 year rainstorm. As shown in the image, while there is still some ponding in the area with the dry storm pond installed, the depth and extent of the ponding is significantly reduced. This is the current concept plan for the dry storm pond in Cahill Park. The light green line shows the new storm sewer that will be constructed from the 21st Street and Avenue W intersection to the park. The dry pond will fill and drain through the northeast concrete structure. During a storm event, water will flow from this inlet and fill up the dry storm pond, with water being temporarily stored in the pond rather than remaining on the street. After the storm is completed and the storm sewer has capacity, the pond will then drain through the same northeast structure that the water initially came in through and ultimately connect back to the existing storm system at the 21st Street and Avenue W intersection. As shown in the image, while most perimeter trees will remain, there will be some trees that will be required to be removed in the park to meet stormwater capacity requirements while ensuring there is sufficient space available to meet recreational needs of the park. Additional information regarding the design will be provided in the following slides of this presentation. Next, some information about construction and timelines of the project. The construction schedule will be finalized once the project contract has been tendered and awarded in the winter of 2025-2026, though the current estimated timelines and scope of work are presented in the following slides for your information. The project will be completed in 4 phases. The first phase will be pond excavation. The second phase will be storm sewer infrastructure construction. The third phase will be landscape construction. And the final phase will be landscape maintenance. The work zones for the project will include Cahill Park, which will be under construction from February 2026 until landscaping has been established in the fall of 2027, and 21st Street West from the intersection with Avenue W South to west of Avenue X South, which will be closed from May 2026 to October 2026. This is a preliminary construction map for the project. This map shows the construction area for the work phases that are described in the next few slides. The green line shows the new storm sewer that will be installed as part of the project. The darker green shape shows the approximate area in which the pond excavation will occur. Please refer to the legend in the image for more details. Next, I will go through some more detailed information about each of the phases of the project. The first phase will be excavation to rough grade. Construction will likely start around February 2026 and be completed around April 2026. Winter excavation was previously completed for the first 3 dry pond flood control strategy projects and overall went very well. Some advantages of winter excavation include limiting the amount of construction traffic in the summer months, managing dust conditions, and increasing the amount of landscape construction that can be completed in the regular construction season, which will in turn decrease the amount of time required for landscape maintenance and sod establishment once the construction is complete. The excavation will include about 8,700 cubic meters of material to be removed. The pictures on the right show the excavation work being completed in the Weaver Park Dry Pond project in 2023, as well as the completed storm pond excavation at Cumberland Park in 2025. The side slopes of the Cahill Park Dry Pond are expected to be slightly flatter at 3.5 to 1 compared to the pond at Cumberland Park at 3 to 1. However, the size of the overall pond at Cahill Park will be smaller than Cumberland Park. The depth of the pond from the existing ground will vary from approximately 3 meters in the east end to 4 meters in the west end of the pond. Once the initial excavation is complete, alterations to existing utilities will be completed to accommodate the dry pond design. The alterations are currently estimated to begin in April 2026. The second phase of the project will be the installation of the storm sewer infrastructure, which is expected to begin in May 2026. The new storm infrastructure will include new storm pipe segments under nearby roadways as well as within Cahill Park. The images on this slide show examples of construction of new storm sewers from some of the city's past flood control strategy projects near Weaver Park, Brevard Park South, and Cumberland Park. Work constructed in this phase will include a new 1,200 millimeter storm sewer that will be installed from the intersection of 21st Street and Avenue W to the northeast corner of the park, as well as new catch basins or storm drains at the intersection of 21st Street and Avenue W. Construction of the storm sewers are expected to be completed by the end of the 2026 construction season by October 2026. The third phase of the project will be landscape construction. This phase will also occur in the 2026 construction season, currently estimated to begin in July 2026, adjacent to storm sewer construction in the area. Work in this phase will include sod, tree, and irrigation installations, as well as other potential landscape features. Most landscape construction work will be completed by November 2026. An image of sod installation during landscape construction at Churchill Park Dry Storm Pond in 2022 is shown on the right side of this slide. The final phase of the project, Phase 4, will be the landscape maintenance period, which will occur for approximately 1 year after Phase 3 is complete. The park area will remain closed to the public during this phase, while the sod and other landscaping establishes in the park. The exact date the dry pond will be open to the public is currently unknown, as it is dependent on construction progress, though it is currently estimated to be in fall 2027. The exact opening date will be communicated to the public in summer 2027 once the date is known. An image of the Weaver Park Dry Storm Pond during the landscape maintenance period in 2024 is shown on the left side of this slide. Next, this slide summarizes the 4 construction phases discussed in the previous slides. Exact dates and schedules will be communicated in 2026 once the project contract has been awarded, but the preliminary schedule for the project will be as follows. Phase 1 excavation will be completed in the winter from February to April 2026. Phase 2 storm sewer infrastructure installation will be completed in the 2026 construction season from May to October 2026. Phase 3 landscape construction will also be completed in the 2026 construction season from July to October 2026. And Phase 4 landscape maintenance will begin once landscape construction has been completed. The duration of the landscape maintenance phase will depend on construction progress made and landscape establishment in 2026, but will be approximately 1 year in length and will extend into fall 2027. We will now discuss what the project will look like. Some of the general details are the following. 1. The inlet outlet of the storm pond in the northeast will utilize a concrete structure, which has been used for our first 3 flood control strategy projects in WW Ashley, Churchill, and Weaver Park. 2. A 36 meter by 27 meter multi-purpose field will be available in the bottom of the dry storm pond for recreational use. The existing ball diamond in the park is planned to be removed due to low usage by allocated groups in the community. 3. The pond will be constructed at 3.5 to 1 side slopes. The depth of the pond from existing street level will be approximately 3 to 4 meters. 4. An informal access will be provided to the bottom of the pond through a new grass pathway in the northwest end of the park. 5. The proposed design will limit the number of trees to be removed due to construction of the dry pond. Mature trees will be prioritized to remain where possible, considering pond capacity and recreational use requirements. 11 trees in total are currently planned to be removed from the park for dry pond and pipe construction. Replacement trees will be incorporated in the landscape design of the project, which will be developed in the coming months. And 6. Lastly, the existing playground area in the southwest end of the park will remain in its current location, with sightline improvements near the playground area being planned as part of the design. Some options the project team are currently considering to improve sightlines includes reshaping the existing berm on the west side of the park, reconfiguring pathway access to improve connectivity to the playground, reviewing locations of park furniture near the playground structure, and creating a park lookout feature near the playground area. In the next few slides, we will review current renderings of the dry storm pond design. First, this slide displays the existing conditions at Cahill Park. This image can be used as a reference to compare against the upcoming design renderings. Next, this rendering shows the proposed design of the dry storm pond. On the design plan, the number 1 shows the location of the inlet structure that will fill the pond during rain events. The pond will also drain through the same outlet once the rain event has been completed. The design will include a small multi-purpose field constructed at the bottom of the pond, shown where the number 2 is displayed on this image. Lastly, this rendering shows what the park would look like during and immediately after a 1 in 10 year storm. The final landscape design is still in progress, which will potentially include new tree plantings and other park amenities to be added to the park through the project. I will now summarize how the pond will function. Stormwater will fill into the pond from the concrete structure in the northeast corner of the park and drain afterwards to the same structure. At peak water level, the pond depth will be 2.0 meters or just over 6.5 feet. To reach the peak water level, the pond will fill in approximately 40 minutes during a significant rain event, while it will take approximately 25 minutes to fill the pond to 90% capacity during a significant rain event. When intense rain starts, there will be a small lag time period of 15 minutes before stormwater starts entering the dry pond through the inlet structure. After the significant rainstorm, the pond will drain in approximately 4.5 hours from full capacity. During smaller rain events, stormwater will enter the dry pond and then drain afterwards. The depth of water for a storm expected to occur once in every 2 years is 1.2 meters or 3.9 feet, while the depth of water for a storm expected to occur once every 5 years is 1.8 meters or 5.9 feet. Next, I will talk about the safety considerations throughout the design of the project. Safety of the public and users of Cahill Park are the highest priority of the design team. Safe access in and out of the dry storm pond will be considered throughout development of the detailed design. Warning signs, shown in the left image, will be installed along the perimeter of the pond to warn the public to not enter the dry pond when it contains stormwater, which, after a significant rainfall event, could take a few hours to drain from the pond. Additionally, more detailed informational signage, similar to the image on the right side of the slide, will be installed after construction is complete in the park to further educate the park users about safety considerations. Lastly, the city will seek to further educate the public and nearby residents to inform them how the pond works and functions. As we move forward in the detailed landscape design of the project, we encourage you to share your feedback with us so we can consider and potentially include it into construction of the project. If there are features or amenities you would like to see the city incorporate into the project, please let us know. Contact details are provided on the next slide. All feedback is subject to review by the design team and will only be executed if they fit into the overall landscape plan of the project and if they are within budget. We are committed to providing the best overall product to the community while reducing the flood risk for many property owners in the area. We hope that this presentation has answered some of the questions you may have had about the flood control strategy and the upcoming project to be constructed at Cahill Park. If not, or if you have any concerns, please contact us either by phone or email, and we will make sure to get the information to you. Also, if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to bi-weekly updates about this project. Construction updates will start in early 2026 before construction starts. Also, please feel free to visit our project webpage and fill in the link survey so you can share any feedback that you may have with the project team. We will be in contact in the near future with information regarding the fall 2025 public engagement event for this project. Thank you for watching.